One of the most common questions is, how do I make an offer to buy a property? Today we're going to walk you through the 6 steps to make your next offer a successful offer and your next purchase. One of the most important things to understand when making an offer for a property is it must be on a contract and it must be in writing. The other important thing, of course, is to understand that whatever information you put on the contract, it becomes legally binding as soon as the vendor accepts your offer. So you've got to make sure that the information you put on the contract is exactly how you want it. When purchasing a property and entering the names on the contract, you need to be very clear on who is actually purchasing the contract. You can purchase in your own name, you can purchase jointly with a partner, a spouse, or even a family member. You can, of course, also purchase in a company name. If you were to purchase in a company name, you would be asked to execute the contract as a director of that particular company and execute the guarantor clause part of that contract. If you're actually purchasing on behalf of another person but who isn't there today, you can actually add the terms and/or nominee to the contract, which allows you to transfer the name of the contract and the ownership of the property to that other person at a later date, up to 14 days prior to settlement. It's also great advice to actually have your solicitor or conveyancer overlook the contract before you sign anything in front of the real estate agent or make your offer for a property. Most contracts are very straightforward, but of course some of that legal jargon may just need some explanation, and it's always best to have a legal eye look over it. As the purchaser, you have the opportunity to make an offer subject to any terms and conditions you like. In an ideal world, the cleaner or most unconditional offer you can provide will give you the best chance of purchasing the property, but you can insert any terms and conditions that you see fit or you've been instructed to by your solicitor. Whatever those terms and conditions are, they need to be very clear, they need to be documented, but they also need to have a time frame so the contract has a shelf life, and it's very easy to make sure that the terms and conditions are met by a certain date. Once the conditions are met by the purchaser, be it the bank, the building inspector or the pest inspector, the contract then becomes unconditional and you've got a fully legally binding sale. So whatever your deposit is, just make sure it's documented on the contract, because whatever it is, you will be expected to honour that and fulfil that obligation should your offer be successful. One of the other major components of your offer will of course be settlement. Whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days or somewhere in between, it's important to make sure that one, you are capable of settling on the time that you've written into the contract, but just as importantly, you need to perhaps take into consideration what the vendor's settlement terms are. If I can settle at the time that the vendor wants, that will place me in the best position to have my offer accepted. And of course, the most important thing is price. So price is the first thing that the vendor will look at, and then if your price is acceptable, then the terms and conditions and the settlement will come into play. But if your price isn't right, it's fair to say that you won't be successful with your offer. So when considering what price to place on your offer, the best advice is to pay a price that you can afford, and certainly at a price that you see value in that particular property. Don't be the person who perhaps tries to outsmart the agent or under-purchase the property. Pay a fair price, fair and reasonable terms, and that will place you in the best position to have your offer accepted. Well, hopefully that gives you a better understanding of how to make an offer and perhaps purchase property. The best advice is communicate regularly with your agent, ask lots and lots of questions, seek legal advice if you need to, and just make sure that you fully understand exactly what you're signing. For more information, go to melbournepropertytalk.com.au.